Welcome to Thursday, December 12th edition of Closers. I am your host, David Ardsman, the DA. First things, make sure if you like our show, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, tell your friends about us. If you don't want to have an opportunity to watch us every week when we're doing this live or watch the recordings on YouTube, hit our podcast. Everywhere you want to find podcasts, we are there. Search for us, search for Closers, Man Cave Sports. You will find us. You'll find our amazing, soothing voices as we talk about sports, and the greatest voice for radio and the best face you could ever imagine for radio, my co-host, James Koulianos. What's going on?
What's going on, buddy? I'm so glad that I have a face for radio. How are you?
I'm doing good. So for everybody, this is my Dark Knight Mets shirts, my closest Mets shirt I have available in my like laundry. I got all my Mets stuff like put away. Now it's been, God, what has it been? 12 years, 11 years since I was a Met. So a lot of that stuff's put away. But James, you are a current Mets fan, even though I mean, you haven't been happy the last couple years. This year, back on the train, great year by the Mets. But our number one thing that we're going to be talking about is Juan Soto signing with the Mets. You predicted it. You were the man. You are the prognosticators of prognosticators. I want to know how you felt when the news came down, because we hadn't really heard that it was going to be one specific team, right? We were hearing that the Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox were deep in it. The Dodgers were kind of trailing off. We knew that they were still going for it, but they were pulling back a little bit. There's always a dark horse in there. And then Stevie Cohen, who was like probably the front runner right out of the gate, you know, back in the day when he was like, "Hey, we're gonna go for this." He's the one that pulls it off. What was your first initial what after you finally like relaxed and read the news and actually believed that it was real? What was that first feeling?
Well, I always thought that he was going to end up there, just for the simple fact that you have the owner with the most money, and he's dealing with the agent who wants the most money. So Scott Boras desperately has to keep Steve Cohen on his side. It would have been very bad business for Scott Boras if Steve Cohen got pissed off at him. So that's one big reason why I think Soto signed, because Boras needs to have Steve Cohen in his corner. That's number one. Number two, I was so happy to see Soto as a Met. It's a lot of money. And we know that the last few years, whoever has Soto at that time, that money is going to be an albatross. But the Mets were smart enough to give him an opt-out after 5 years. So, and I'm not going to say it yet. I'm sure you'll give me my kudos when it's time. It's just a great thing. The best available player in all of baseball is a New York Met.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing about it is the number one dog, top dog on the free agent market. We have been waiting for this moment for years and years and years. You know, last year was Ohtani. Yes, everyone's sitting there watching Ohtani. And obviously, you see paid off a little bit for the Dodgers. But we knew Soto was been coming up. We've been waiting for Soto probably even longer. The anticipation's been a little bit longer because you saw his ability as a rookie. You've seen him come up through the Nationals organization, and everybody's just waiting. When he turned down the money from the Nats, you knew this was going to be like a monster. As long as he kept on his path, his trajectory. Struggled a little bit when he got down to San Diego. Obviously, a lot of pressure. I don't know. Maybe just the situation. Everything's a little bit different down there. Maybe it's the coast. Who knows? The travel is a lot different. So that might have had something to play with it. Maybe family just didn't feel right. Maybe there's something in the locker room. Who knows? But then he gets to New York. He gets to the Yankees, and it just seemed like it was a perfect fit. It's like ketchup on a hot dog. It's absolutely perfect. I know like 3/4 of everybody out there just cringe. I love ketchup.
I like ketchup on hot dogs.
I don't know why. I love it. I always have. My father-in-law, Ron, if you're listening, every time he puts has a hot dog, he puts mustard on there and takes a picture just to remind me. So does DZ. DZ lets me know that I'm an idiot. But he fit in New York, just absolutely perfect. Do you think? Okay, so I mean, on X, I'm just seeing just reaction after reaction after reaction. Maybe it's X pushing it to me. I'm sure it is. But Yankee fans upset, burning his jersey, like you're a traitor, all this stuff. Do you think that that's justified in any way? Take away your Mets fandom out of this. Be a Yankee fan here for a second. Do you think that's justified when you're looking at a guy who was a free agent coming in, trade? Everybody knew he was going to play the market.
If I'm a Yankee fan, I am furious. I had this guy in my office and I let him go. I just, and the fact that, and here's the funny thing, Scott Boras went to the Yankees and said, do you want to match? And they tapped out. I never thought for a second that the Yankees would tap out, especially when the money was so close. But we found out later that there were quite a few little incidents that may not have jived with Soto. We'll talk about that in a second. But the fact that the Yankees, who never, ever, ever lose the guy that they really want, lost it and lost it to the Mets is a big problem. George Steinbrenner would be beyond embarrassed if that happened right now. He would have fired Cashman by now.
I would think so. I don't know about fired Cashman. I mean, the amount of money they put up, I think what he would have done, I don't think he would have fired Cashman. I don't think that's it. Let's not forget the Steinbrenner family and Cashman put up $760 million on the table.
Yeah.
They went there. They did it. They went all out. I think there would have been a point where Steinbrenner would have never gone to that money. Steinbrenner, George would have never gone to that number, and he would have made it a giant public display of how Soto is all he cares about is the money. He doesn't care about being a Yankee. He never was meant for the pinstripes, and that Mantle wouldn't have taken the money, and Ruth wouldn't have taken the money, and Jeter wouldn't have taken would have forced that type of money. He would have gone that route because I think at the same time the Yankee family went there. They went all out, all for it. I think when you get down to the nitbits of the contract, maybe the out clauses, the signing bonus, when you're going to a suite, security 24/7, basically when around his family, I might say 24/7, but security all the time. When a player starts demanding those things, I think when you're an organization, you have to draw a line someplace and say, this is some precedent here that we don't want to set. And that's probably where it really broke down, because really it was $5 million, but it's structured a lot differently from other places.
It wasn't $5 million.
760 and 765, wasn't it?
Right, but there was also an extra year on it. There was an extra year
for the changes,
but that comes out to $3.5 million a year.
Yeah. AAV changes, and then there's again, but the value of the contract is $5 million difference. But it changes with the taxes. It changes with the signing bonus. It changes when you add like the luxury suite and stuff. I think when you sit there and go, a desperate owner needed to make a desperate move. And I think Steinbrenner's never looked at his world and thought he was desperate. And if he ever felt desperate, he was going to pull back. And that's the thing. I think George always said, basically, we are not the desperate ones. They should want us just as much as we want them, if not more. And that's why I don't think George would have ever gone to that length.
George would have never have let him go. No,
I don't agree. I don't agree. I actually think he would have stood on a box and said, "No, we are letting you go because you are asking so much."
I disagree. I think he would have given him $800 million at the end.
Maybe.
I really think Boras would have said, "Here's the number that the Mets are at. If you match it or beat it, he's yours." I really do believe that. Yankee fans are absolutely miserable, and I feel bad for him. I really do. I know what it's like to want a player and not get him. Last year it happened. I wanted Ohtani so bad. I would still trade Ohtani for Soto right now if I could do it.
That's what I'm saying. $700 million for Ohtani now looks like a deal.
Yes, which is absolutely insane. But you mentioned it. They wouldn't give Soto a luxury box, which I think is kind of stupid. Oh, because Babe Ruth didn't have one and Derek Jeter.
No, I think that's dollars and cents. That's money that you need to be able to pay $760 million. That's you're asking teams. I never agreed with the whole luxury box principle. You're asking for a team you're asking for the most money in Major League history and most money in sports history. And on top of it, You're now asking for a team to take away that revenue source from them and saying, no, we're special. I need it. My family needs a box, and whoever I want to entertain up there. It's not an NFL stadium. They don't just have boxes everywhere. They can't go 360 around a stadium. Those boxes are how they create that revenue. That's how they pay you. I think that is some of the most selfish things I've ever seen is when a player says, I need a box. And I say, I'll give you a box, but you got to pay for it. Like, because that's how I'm going to write your checks. Like, don't look at me and tell me the way I have to write your checks is what you're going to take away from me.
Fine. Then if you're making $1 million off of the luxury box every year, give me an extra $1 million so I can buy the luxury box. That's part of the deal. That's what I want.
I say you got 760, buy it yourself. Like that's the deal of you. That's when you get to throw those numbers around. That's how you get that box, brother.
But
pay the money.
But if you're Juan Soto and you have the hammer, look at the perfect storm that happened for Juan Soto. Every big market team that had money was interested. There wasn't one team that you look at. The Red Sox came close. The Yankees came close. Toronto came close. The Mets ended up getting them, and the Dodgers offered them $600 million plus. So you had all the big league teams, or the big market teams, going after him. So why in the hell wouldn't you ask for the sun, the moon, the stars?
I'm not. Trust me, dude, whoa. There's two arguments here. I'm saying this from the argument from an owner standpoint, from a Yankee ownership standpoint, and an argument from Juan Soto standpoint. Juan Soto, go for it, dude. Ask for a luxury jet, ask for private jets, ask for limos to and from the stadium. Go for it. Now, I don't have to agree with it. I think you travel the team and all that stuff. I don't want my family hanging out just in the middle of the stands if I'm that high caliber of player, because there's things that happen. It's been known to happen in Yankee Stadium. Verlander's a big one, but giant circle round stuff that's happened to his family.
His
that
wife
doesn't
has
mean
big
to me
circles.
when I'm throwing 700, a couple of massive circles. But that doesn't mean to me as an owner of the Yankees that I need to sit here and keep bending for all these other things. I would say, hey, I'm giving you $760 million to wear the pinstripes, to what you just experienced this year, and you will be a Yankee and a Hall of Famer in the Yankee uniform for life. And like, if that's not good enough for you, then take your money, go to the Mets. I go, and I'm not like zero disrespect, but we will use that money in other ways to build this team. Like, we want you,
right?
If you have a better deal, go for it, take it. Now, at the same time, if I'm the Yankees and I'm Cashman, I'm going, yeah, I lost out on him, but I'm going to build a better team. And I think the Yankees are going to be, if they go out and get the other guys, they have a legit shot to be a better team for several years than they were with him. Now, maybe not as much energy, maybe not as excitement, maybe not as like, like, oh my God, that duo of Soto and Judge, you probably can't market it the same way. But outside of like Jeter and, during those Yankee times, like Jeter was the only really, really marketable, maybe Tino, maybe Bernie a little bit, like, but
Mariano?
Really, but was Mariano like, he wasn't going out and selling shoes.
How many times did we hear the core four? The core four that won games, the core one marketed in the team. Dude, I got my guy. I got my Judge. I just need a team around him. I need a men in front of him, men behind him, and build my 9 every day that go out there. And we'll talk about the Yankees in a second when we talk about the guy that they ended up getting. But before we move off of Soto, I just want to talk about that contract and how close we were with our prediction. I mean, that was crazy close.
Yeah, you see it right up here. James was incredibly close. I'm gonna give James all this credit here. James is the one that pulled this off because he's amazing at this. So we predicted 13 years, $650 million with an opt-out after 6. And James, 15 years, 765. What's the difference of that AAV?
It's not much. I mean, the AAV is spot on. The only difference was they opted out after 5 instead of 6. But if you look at it, it's basically the same amount of money that I said, prorated, that he would get in the first 5 years.
1 million off.
All right.
1 million AAV off, like 50 instead of 51. It's absolutely incredible. The out clauses were amazing. It's well played, like people, because here's the thing, when we made that prediction too, people were talking about it being a $600 million like contract. And we hit 650, but over 13. So yeah, you're right there.
What makes me most happy though is now the Mets have a chance of getting him to opt out at 31. I don't want him after the age of 32 or 33. So if I only
Okay, so I saw, but if the Mets add 3 million, I believe it is a year,
5,
5 million a year,
yeah, they
then
can.
it's no, can add 4 million a year. I saw that 4 million a year. Does that guarantee it?
No, so yeah, so what they can do at the 5-year mark is they can say, okay, we're going to add 4 million a year for the next
10 years.
10 years, and that voids out the option. He will no longer have
Yeah,
the option to vote.
and that makes it 54. That brings it up to
805.
801, 805 or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and very very interesting.
And great contract for everybody involved.
How far off do you think the A's and the Rays were?
A's and Rays were pretty damn far, but the A's are going to be spending some money. And we'll talk about that more next week. They went and got themselves a pitcher in Luis Severino, and there's a reason why they're throwing money around, because they need to spend money so they can avoid some big fine.
Yes, they need to spend some money. All major league teams need to spend some money. We will definitely talk about this. Plus, I think they're seeing money bags coming in about 3 years, 4 years.
I don't think it's because of that reason, because don't forget, they're going to be losing a lot of money playing in a minor league stadium this year. They're not going to be able to.
Are they?
Well,
Are they?
in theory, they would. They probably won't, but they need to spend 150% of the money that they get from
bring in from luxury. Yes.
Yeah, from
the profit sharing.
Yes, from the profit sharing. So that's the reason they're going out. But anyway, let's move on to another guy that we desperately want to talk about because he did sign with the Yankees. Let's talk about Mr. Fried.
Max Fried signing a nice little deal with the Yankees. 8 years, $218 million. James, what was your prediction?
7 years, 185. So just add the 1 year and basically the same AAV, and we're right there.
Absolutely. That is a great call. What do you think of this signing, especially for the Yankees? I'm not saying that the Yankees are loaded in starting pitching, but the Yankees are pretty loaded in starting pitching.
They didn't need him. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody, look, it's not a bad thing to get an ace pitcher, but to give a guy who's had this kind of injury history and at this age, to give him 8 years as sort of, as far as I'm concerned, it was kind of a reactionary move to losing Soto. You're like, okay, well, if we can't get the best player, let's see if we can get one of the 2 best pitchers on the market. But you didn't need them. You had a very, very nice rotation. You could have done a lot better with that, allocating that money to a hitter, because that's where the Yankees really struggled. Outside of Soto and Judge, they had nobody who was hitting.
Yeah, that's because I was reading a lot of reports, a lot of people out there talking about Yankees needing starting pitcher, and I love the signing. Don't get me wrong, I love the signing. I think what it does do, it boosts the rotation to where you've got Garrett Cole and a 1-1, a true 1-1 ace, true ace. But he had a little injury, and then he came back. He ended up pitching great later on. But like now, like okay, like where does this set him? Does he start struggling or with injuries at 34? Stroman was struggling. Stroman was not the guy that they signed. Actually, it was exactly what they signed. Heel, incredible season, but incredible rookie campaign. Rodon, sorry, incredible in the playoffs, and like we saw kind of like who he is. Like we saw him great last year, and then you add the Max Fried. It does add that one more layer of depth where you're like, dude, like that's a true number 2, number 1 kind of guy.
But you also have
to this rotation.
You also have Nestor Cortez, who's coming back. You have that ability. So I just didn't see Fried as the fit. Now, they are saying now that they have Fried, there are rumors that they're going to try to trade Luis Gil for Kyle Tucker. But
I've heard Stroman throwing in that stuff. Yeah, because you're going to end up with like where does it break, right? Where does it bend? Where does it break? Like Clark Schmidt. He's got to move now out. You have to make a trade or move Clark Schmidt out, or like where Nestor Cortez fits back in, right? Because he's a stud.
Yeah.
And you need that in there. Like definitely that change of pace kind of guy.
You're just getting older in the rotation. It's more of an injury history, more of an injury risk. I would have taken that money and went out and got myself a really good hitter. That's a lot of money. It's $210 million. That could have gotten you that probably could have gotten you Alonso.
I'm absolutely, and that changes the game. And honestly, I think that's the guy the Mets or the Yankees need to single out and say, you want to make a splash in New York City and you want to kind of dive a knife right into the Mets fan base right after they got Soto, announce the next day that you got Alonso.
They're talking about getting Christian Walker.
Trust me, I want Christian Walker. I actually think Christian Walker might be one of the best on the market. Minus, like, I think it's Alonso, and then I think it's like Walker, and then Goldschmidt right there. Just his age is going to be a factor. But Christian Walker is an absolute stud that no one really knows out in New York, and he's
34.
What?
But he's 34 years old.
All those guys are old. I mean, Alonso's the youngest, right? But all those guys are old. Like Alonso's still, it's not like he's 25, and you're sitting there looking at Goldschmidt. He's what, 37, 38? I don't even know what he is. But they can hit a baseball, and they can hit a baseball far, and Walker can hit a baseball really high and far, and that works out in New York, in Yankee Stadium pretty well, especially when you go to Boston and you're in Baltimore. Like, his type of ball travels well in those type of ballparks. Plus, he can play the average game. He can hit, and so I think he'd be a great sign. And like, to me, it's like, okay, go get Chapman. Go get Chapman at third base. Go get Rendon. If you want to go, like, you want to make some interesting stuff, they'll give you Rendon. Like, they will hand you him on a silver platter and say, take this dude. Like, we want nothing to do with this fucking guy. And just maybe you eat half the contract or something. Eat a quarter of it and just take him and throw him in your DL and say, if he's healthy for 2 months, as long as it's September and October, like,
all the rumors out of New York right now are saying that the Yankees are going after Bregman hard. I don't know why. I would not want Bregman. I think he's going to
like Bregman.
I don't want Bregman.
Why?
I just think his best years are behind him.
Interesting. I think Bregman would be a great sign there. Again, I'm going Santander. Personally, I'm going Santander and right, Bregman or Chapman at third base, and I'm getting Christian Walker because if you're trying to get those two guys, you're probably not going to have the money for Alonso. So I'm getting a Christian Walker or Paul Goldschmidt, and like, now I'm looking at the lineup going, Jesus, like, wow, this is another lineup I don't want to pitch to. And like, Bregman's pretty healthy, Santander's very healthy, like, Goldschmidt and Walker have generally been healthy. Like, and Walker went through some funky stuff for a little bit after he got hit in the head, and he figured it out though this year. And so that's one of those things. Like, right now, then I'm looking at the lineup going, dude, all I need is a couple of relievers that can guarantee get the ball to Weaver or figure out maybe a closer at the back end there. I'm really in a good place.
I'd go after Arenado. That would be the guy that I go after from the Yankees. See if I can get Arenado. I could probably get him cheaper. And if you like Walker, go after Walker. I think there are other first basemen who are available that might be better. Not better, but just a smarter move. I worry about a 34-year-old. Usually it's a very quick decline.
I'm not worried about 34-year-old first baseman, though. First baseman, I'm not really too worried about that sort of stuff, right? Like, he's a Gold Glove, he's basically a Gold Glove level fielder, and he's a Silver Slugger level hitter. And
I don't want to sit here and talk about the Yankees all day, but if I was going to build the Yankees, I would definitely figure out a way to move Aaron Judge to first base. That will solve your first base problem for quite a while. I would go out and I would get Santander in the outfield. I would get Arenado for third, and I think that makes you a better team.
All right, let's get off.
Second.
I completely agree with all of it. One thing I did see on X today, somebody said that the Padres are trying to cut payroll.
Yeah.
And so Tatis, that's a lot of payroll, a lot of headache that they've had. One of the most incredible prospects in baseball history when he came up too. That might be interesting. They put together some big deal. Stroman, Heel, and maybe a couple other kids for him, and Cease is what I saw on X. That might be interesting. Anyways,
wouldn't you rather have Machado though?
What?
Wouldn't you rather have Machado, move him to third if you're the Yankees? Put him
No,
at third? No?
no. From a now 1 year, yes. If I have the contract of Tatis's contract, no,
You
man,
mean
I want that
Machado's contract?
contract. What?
You mean Machado's contract?
No, Tatis.
So
I
you'd
want
rather have
Tatis's contract.
you want Tatis's contract?
Yes. Yes. That's a perfect. It's a great. You perform, you get paid type of contract, man.
Okay.
I want that contract, and then I can figure out my infield from there, and or outfield or whatever, wherever, because you can move Tatis around. He's shown it that he can play. I want that contract. I'm totally fine with it. Moving on out to that West Coast, another guy that you predicted, Blake Snell.
On this
You
one.
predicted 3 years, $100 million, and he got 5 years, 182. Dang, pretty good again on this prediction. A little off. He got more money than you predicted, but pretty dang good.
Well, I mean, he also got a lot of it deferred, so the money would kind of be equal. But he got 5 years. I didn't expect him to get 5 years. I don't know why. I just thought he would get a shorter contract because of the fact that he doesn't go deep into games. But I mean, this is the rich getting richer. I mean, I don't know what the hell. Can you imagine now if they got Blake Snell and they ended up getting Roki Sasaki and they get Otani back in the rotation and you have Yamamoto and you have, I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, but embarrassment of riches. It's great. It's a guy. He's going to fit, I think, perfect in LA, and we'll see how he fits with the clubhouse and how all that works. They're a perfect organization where he doesn't need to give you more than five and dive every day, 6 and dive every day. They don't need 9 out of him, and I think it's going to be an absolutely perfect deal for him. And Dodgers are going to be happy as heck. They're happy as heck. I don't know how this is going to work out in 7 years when that money starts having to get paid. It's going to be some interesting conversations. And again, I've said this before, Major League Baseball is going to have to have a conversation at some point with the team, with the MLBPA about debt and the amount of future debt teams can take upon contracts. And because something probably has to give at some point.
Yeah.
Something has to give, because like we can't just keep deferring everything to in the future, because you're still going to have a team in the future when all that money's getting paid. And we all think they have all the money in the world. At some point, they won't have all the money in the world, and it's just a matter of numbers, because it's going to catch up.
Don't worry. I know what'll happen. Steve Cohen will buy the Dodgers and turn it into one giant team.
Perfect. And Soto will be in LA like God predicted. Staying on the West Coast, Willy Adames. What do you think of this contract? You predicted 6 year 150, and he got 7 years 182. Pretty dang perfect on that prediction.
I just didn't see him going to the San Francisco Giants, and good for them. They were smart. They said, you know what? While all you guys are fighting over Juan Soto, I'm going to get maybe the second best position player on the market, and I'm going to get him for a relatively good deal, and I'm going to have myself a great player. I would have loved to have seen Willy Adames on my team. He didn't go to the Mets, but what a great move by the Giants. Good for them. And they've been trying so hard the last couple of years to get that big player. They tried for Judge, and it just seems like it's taking a little time for them. But they got Buster Posey in charge right now, so I see good things in their future. And Willy Adames is a great player.
It's funny. I keep saying Matt Chapman. I know I've screwed this up multiple times now looking at the Giants roster, and I keep meaning Bregman when I said Chapman. I keep meaning Bregman every single time I said the word Chapman. But I mean like a Chapman type of player, which is Bregman. But yeah, he joins Chapman out there in San Francisco. I do love what Buster is doing out there. I think this is a great signing. They have a very good rotation. They need probably a little help at the end of that rotation, but they have a solid rotation. They have a very solid bullpen. Again, maybe need a guy or two. Everybody needs a guy or two in the bullpen, but they definitely needed more in that lineup. This is a great start. Wonderful start. He's going to go out there. I mean, really, him and Chapman are the heart of that order. So I need more. Lamont Wade Jr. had a wonderful season. But I need Fitzgerald. I mean, again, coming up, young player, basically rookie, and Lee coming across Pacific. I just need more. I need somebody more in that lineup where I'm just going to look at this team again and just say, all right, next. Like I just need one more guy in this lineup. But what I do like what they're doing is not getting giant big bopper guys. Judge would have absolutely failed there. Absolutely failed. They need gap, power, and base hit guys. That's how they won World Series. That's how they will win World Series. Even Bonds playing there, like they didn't like really follow through into the World Series, like into the powerful teams too often. He was the only guy that could do it. Like outside of Bonds, all their lineups were basically gap guys. Give me gap guys that can run and create from a double to a triple. That's what this team is. That's what they were, and that's what they had when Buster was there. Buster wasn't a 40 home run guy.
No.
Buster was a 20 home run guy and hit in the gap a whole ton.
Yeah. I can really see them going after Vlad next year.
Yes.
I know he's not the right guy in your opinion. However, it seems like they really want to make that splash. I think they wanted to last year with Judge. I think they're going to go after Vlad because the money's going to be a little more tolerable.
Absolutely. And I trust me, I'm not going to complain that anybody going after Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I don't think that type of hitter will succeed there in the way he wants to succeed. And that might get frustrating because when he wants to put up 45, 50 home runs and he can't, because at night it's the coldest ballpark in Major League Baseball, and it just ball does not fly there at night, and he's trying to put it in the rafters, put in the glove out there in left center field, and it falls in and for a fly ball in the gap. He's gonna be pissed, and it's just going to kind of build up over time frustration. And I actually think Alonso might be an interesting guy where yes, he's a power hitter, but he's also kind of a gap guy. And that might be gold for them where, yes, if he pulls on it, it's gone. But he can live with gap power and be okay with doubles. And I think he'd be okay with a 25 to 30 home run season and gap power. And that team might be like, all right, let's go. Just like round the bases. Let's go. And you need speed and gap power.
I think the Polar Bear stays.
What was that?
I think the Polar Bear stays in New York, personally.
I think he does too. I think he ends up being a Met. But at the same time, like that's an interesting place for him, and I think that's an interesting call. Going back to the Midwest, we had hit with Willie Adames out there in Milwaukee, but now Shane Bieber signed back with the Guardians, the forgotten Cy Young winner, because he just unfortunately just was not himself, coming off of injuries and figuring, getting back to who he is. This year he should be healthy and full go. You had predicted $18 million contract with a $20 million player option, and he ended up getting a $14 million contract with a $16 million player option. Not bad. Actually, to me, it's yes, the numbers are off, but the structure of the deal is absolutely perfect with what you predicted. Tell me about Shane Bieber.
Really simple for me. He had to show that he was healthy, and that's why he got the $18 million contract for this year. And if he's healthy, he's going to void that contract. He's going to void out the second year. He's going to go somewhere and get himself a 3-4 year deal, 5 maybe with some team. I'm just looking at this and I'm saying, why couldn't other teams have done this deal? Because if you're a team that needs pitching, this is a perfect storm for you. You're talking about a guy who has the goods. He has shown he's done it, and he's costing you nothing. He's costing them $38 million for 2 years. That's basically 1 year of Yamamoto.
He's a Cy Young winner, 38 for 2 years. Incredible deal for the Guardians. I think this is absolutely perfect. I'm amazed that they are able to pull this off. Great numbers from their standpoint. Shane Bieber, great numbers for having to prove yourself type of numbers, right? He's going to be a different pitcher than he was in the past. Prove yourself numbers, and you'll get paid. This is to me though, this was a Mets signing. I thought this was a Mets signing all over it. I thought this might have been a Baltimore signing all over it. A type of guy where you're like, just bring him in, let him be himself, or Braves might have been an interesting one on this. And so I love that he went back to the Guardians. He's a Guardian guy, always has been.
Yep.
I did not see it being the Guardians end up winning this. I just thought someone else, like these type of numbers that you're seeing here. I mean, Milwaukee would made sense. I mean, there's so many teams that you could just say almost circle all 30 teams and circle yes to this contract. And now it's just a matter of whether they're comfortable with the injuries and comfortable with who he's going to be. But to me, it's a 2-year contract, and you're what's the worst you're going to get is average. Okay, like you're paying for average, and you're overpaying for average. That's the worst you're going to get. I actually think he's going to be an absolute stud. I thought the Cubs. I mean, guys, you just basically list everybody.
There are 25 teams that could have used that player.
Yes. I mean, and I'd say probably the other 5 have a locked up lineup, have a locked up rotation.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, the Yankees, it wouldn't make any sense for the Yankees to go after him. But the Mets could have used him.
Dodgers couldn't have. The Dodgers, there's no point because it was already done with their rotations full, I think.
Believe it or not, Pittsburgh didn't need him.
Yeah, yes, and then so it's a pretty incredible deal. Great job for Shane, and a perfect contract for the Guardians. Perfect contract for Shane. You pitch well, you earn your money. You don't pitch well, you still have a guaranteed contract, and you can prove yourself next year.
Yep.
But to everybody out there, if you want to be a better pitcher, better baseball player in general, better thrower, Top Velocity Pro, come on out. Go to topvelocitypro.com. Check me out. My phone number is right on there. If you want to get evaluated, I will evaluate you. I will make you the best you will ever be able to be, and hopefully be signing some of the contracts like this for your NIL deals in college.
There you go. There you go.
Just crazy how much money those players are making in college. We will be talking about college football a little bit later. That guy's such a great deal. I want to talk about that so bad. Yes. But we're going to hit my favorite sport, NBA basketball.
Hold on. Before we go to all right, we'll talk NBA because there was a lot more I wanted to talk about baseball. There was a few teams because we just mentioned
yes,
the Pirates.
Well, let's hit that. You know what? Let's go back. Let's hit that at the end, and we'll talk about some of the teams and some of our stuff before we hit the WTF moments. We'll go back to baseball a little bit and hit some of those mid-market teams and what they should be out there go and doing. The NBA is in the tanks with their ratings. They are, as you can see right here on the screen, 28% ESPN. Their ratings are down this year from last year. Overall, the entire league ratings are down 48% from 2012. NBC there's been some reports that they're kind of mad about these numbers. They're upset. They definitely overpaid at this point of the contract for the NBA rights. At the same time, NFL, CFL, UFC, NHL, MLB, they're all increasing their ratings and social media presence. They're pushing it through multiple platforms. Obviously, the NBA is trying to do all of that. And in the past, had been incredibly successful in connecting with fans. But James, what do you think? Why do you think the NBA right now is struggling with their ratings?
Because they're a league of prima donnas. People are tired of seeing prima donnas.
Yes.
This whole, I need a day off for self-care. Really? You need a day off for self-care? That's where you're at right now. You can't play 2 games in a row if you're Joel Embiid or if you're LeBron James. And so you've got kids who are dying. You're sitting there, David Ardsma, he's got 2 kids, and they say, Dad, before LeBron retires, I really want to see him play. Can we please get tickets for the Suns when the Lakers come in? And you buy those tickets, and guess what? He's not playing.
Not there.
Because he needed a day off.
After a day off.
Yeah, after a day off. I mean, it's a joke. That's the first problem. Second problem is these games don't matter until there's 2 minutes left in the game. They're all super close until the very end. So why watch the beginning of a game? Doesn't make any sense. They went big internationally, and they did a great job with that. But I don't know. There's just something about the NBA that rubs me the wrong way. These guys, wanting to make super teams, and it doesn't work out with this guy, so I want to go play with that guy. I mean, look at what happened with the Brooklyn Nets a few years ago. They got Kyrie, they got Kevin Durant, they drove their coach out of town, and then when they realized, crap, we messed up, I want to leave now. I mean, the NBA is a joke.
Yes, I would actually say, okay, so there's a couple different things here. One, I love how they have gone international. I actually
Yes.
love it. I think they have found some of the best players in the world and put them on center stage. Major League Baseball has been doing this for years, and people are gravitating towards an Otani, towards a Juan Soto. If they wouldn't have gone international, you don't, these players are not in the game and they're not showcasing the league. Um, the Joker in Denver, I mean, he's just absolute stud. Go down Dallas. I mean, everywhere you look, some international players are incredible, and they're spreading the growth of the game, which is crazy that the NBA itself is losing ratings when internationally they have never been better.
Yeah.
I think the self-care is a massive part of it, where people are seeing that they're soft and they're not playing the same amount of games even remotely close to guys used to play even 5 years ago, and let alone your superstars. When we're constantly talking about LeBron versus Jordan and whoever versus Jordan and all this stuff, who's the GOAT? We're just seeing that these guys played every single night, and now they're not, and now it's a completely different ballgame. I do think it's a big factor. I don't think that's the biggest factor. I think the biggest factor is blatant, and it's slapping us across the face, and not many people in the NBA want to just say it. The league has changed with how their offenses are. Steph Curry ruined the league.
Okay.
It's just straight up. Steph Curry ruined the league. Fact. The problem is he walked in and changed the game from the moment his first shot happened. Caitlin Clark's doing it in the NBA. It is Caitlin Clark. The WNBA is going now will go down the same arc as the NBA. She is going to ruin ruin WNBA basketball for whatever it is. The problem with him is everybody wants to take 3-point shots now. All game long. The analytics show 3-point shots are what you should do in the NBA, and you score more points, move forward in the game. You will win more games if you hit more 3-pointers than the other team, regardless of 2-pointers. There was a game, saw a number earlier this year. I think it might have been crazy. They took 107 something 3-pointers in one game. Or something. It might have been like 2 games or something. They're averaging 37 3-pointers a game, and they're missing more than ever. And it's a boring game. It's basically become a half court game. In just 8 years, they've shot 15 more threes than in 8 years. 15 more shots per game from the 3-point line than 8 years ago. That's a lot. That's a lot. So what you're watching half a game now. And you're watching a game of miss and not fight for a rebound. You're watching a game of 5 players stand around the perimeter, get one open, shoot a 3. If they miss, the other team gets the ball. They go down, 5 guys around the perimeter, shoot a 3. And then they might get it to the European, who does a 3-step pick and drop one in for 2 points. And everyone goes, oh my God, crazy. It's no longer a game about power and speed and dunking and one-on-one. It's about 3-pointers. And they don't like it. Major League Baseball got into a strikeout home run phase, and people don't like it. So they changed the game a little bit. They made stealing more valuable. They made base hits more valuable, and they made action more valuable. The NBA is getting into a problem of 3-pointers. So they're going to, you will see a change in the NBA. I promise you. The one thing about the NBA, they're better than any other sport about changing, and they will change quickly. I promise you they're going to move that 3-point line back. They're going to make it more difficult. They will do something in the rules within like how tough it is to make to get a 3-pointer. They might even make the basket a little bit smaller. There's going to be something about it that's going to force teams more into the key.
Let me ask you this. Who do you think the top 3 stars in the NBA, not the 3 best players, but the top 3 stars are?
LeBron, Joker. Then you got to get the Greek freak. Then you got to go. Oh man, this is a tough one. I mean, Steph.
See, that's the problem. The guys who are the top 5 stars, the top 3 stars, they're kind of long in the tooth right now. There are no super young guys right now, with the exception of Wembanyama, who we're still waiting to be a dominating force. You know, when Jordan, it's funny, we went from Larry and Magic right into Jordan. From Jordan right into Kobe. From Kobe right into LeBron. There doesn't seem to be that guy right now. So the guys that are the superstars are getting a little old right now. We've seen them, and there's nobody there to excite them. We had the same problem in baseball until Judge and Otani came around.
Well,
That's a problem.
absolutely, 100%. I agree with you. And but I would say after LeBron, it became Steph. There was a point there where they both obviously were superstars together, but LeBron started slowing down and Steph was still going, and now Steph's slowing down. And
Yeah.
so now it's also that and LeBron's holding on to
Yeah.
whatever he has left. Or you're seeing,
Because his
demise.
legacy is important. I got to make sure my legacy.
Absolutely. Oh God. But we're not. Yeah, I agree with you. But we do. There are a good amount of superstars. I think there are great players in the game. But again, they're all trying to be Steph now. They're all trying to be that 3-point guy, or at least the game is forcing them to try to be 3-point guys when they have these incredible talents. But maybe Wemby changes the game with how he plays, and when he becomes even better, he's a great player. When he becomes even better.
Yeah. And that's what I think the NBA needs. They need that next crop of superstars. And what's going to end up happening is a guy like Wemby or somebody who can take it to the hole. They're going to change the way the game is done. I mean, it happens in baseball where everybody started throwing max velo, and now it's all about velo. What's going to end up happening in a few years? They're going to start going to more breaking balls. I think.
Well, they've actually gone. That's actually already happened, and that's why you're seeing so many more strikeouts, because they went max velo, but then they went okay breaking balls are actually making people swing and miss more. So they've gone.
Yeah.
That's where the guy swerve. I forgot what it's called.
That's sweeper.
Sweeper. It's a swerve. It's a hard swerve. That's where he's coming in. Then you're seeing with Skeens with his splunker or whatever it is. Split. It's a split. Stop with all these stupid names trying to identify one pitch and how it moves versus the other pitch where it moves just a little different. The same pitch just moves.
I call it the Terminator.
Terminator. I call it. Yeah. If you hit it, you can name it whatever you want.
Major League 2, baby.
I just think that it's the 3-pointer is the biggest problem in the game right now. You will see, and there is a good article out on. I don't know who originally wrote this. It's called For the Win. It's called The NBA Has a 3-Pointer Problem. And you'll see this play out with some rule changes, and just wait for it.
I want to see the 5-pointer from the circle right in the middle of the floor.
Right? That might be what they're doing. But you're going to see the same arc happen in the WNBA. Just wait. You will see 3-pointers become a much bigger priority in the WNBA, because Caitlin Clark is showing if you sit back there and you just drain from 3, you win basketball games. Drain from 3, you win basketball games. And that's where you're really going to see is WNBA. You'll see more players like Caitlin Clark attempting it, and then in the NBA, you're going to see some rule changes.
Agreed.
But speaking of rule changes, the NCAA football has made a lot of rule changes the last couple of years, and the man, the myth, the legend, Bill Belichick wants to be a part of it. Bill Belichick is going to the University of North Carolina to be the head. I love the graphic already. To be the head football coach. When you heard this news, what's the first thing you thought?
I was very happy for Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Since she's going to be graduating high school in 2 years, she has somewhere to go where she can get full scholarship.
Full scholarship. I think this is hilarious.
Right. Let's not pretend that she's 16 years old. I just needed to take a shot. This is just funny because if he was going to go to college, I could see him going to a big school. This is not a big football school, so there's something a little more interesting going on. I don't know if maybe his girlfriend wants to stay in North Carolina, or maybe he likes being in North Carolina. Maybe they said, hey, Bill, your son is going to be the coach next. No matter what happens, it's in the contract. Your son will be the next coach of UNC. I have no idea. But when I heard North Carolina, like, wait a minute, they're a basketball school. They're not a football school. Who's the last good player from North Carolina?
They've had some great players coming out of North Carolina.
Oh, well, I wouldn't know because I don't give a crap about college football. But yeah, I
can't say this, but like Trubisky came out of there. Whatever. Julius Peppers, Lawrence Taylor, Jeff Saturday.
That's a pretty good one, Lawrence Taylor.
Well, right, Julius Peppers. I mean, Drake May. So you're seeing they've got a good history. They don't have that upper echelon of team history. They've had years, just like some other teams. They've had years where they're a very good and competitive team. But the landscape of college football has changed. You don't need to go to the old faithful couple big old schools like Alabama and LSU, Michigan, and Ohio State, and Notre Dame to win anymore, or USC. You don't need to go there to win anymore. Transfer portal and NIL have completely changed the game. The problem is transfer portal and NIL are goddamn headaches. And when coaches leave college football, they say transfer portal and NIL are the reason they left. And they say it is the most frustrating. You're constantly having to recruit your own players every single day. At the same time, the money is just so ridiculous that it's like, what do you even do? There has to be a massive support system set up there. Bill Belichick is a leader of men who have to listen to who he is. So that's going to be perfect. At the same time, this is a group of people that no longer have to listen to you. They can come in and play, and the moment they don't like you, peace out. So this coaching in college has become a young man's game. Because they can deal with the headache of a teenager telling you, no, I want my Lamborghini, just like Texas has been giving players, I want my Ferrari, I want this, I want that, or I'm going to go down to North Carolina State. That's my issue, is like, if he can coach just on the field and not have to deal with the recruiting and not have to deal with the NIL, not have to deal with that, and get people to buy in, it's great. Like in the NFL, you have to listen to them. There's nothing you're going to do. Like, you come in and yell at you, like, what are you going to go do? Like, demand to be a free agent? And the owner just says, no, not going anywhere.
The good news is now he has that portal that he can talk to the players, because the players are going to say slang. He's not going to understand it. And he can go, honey, what did he just say? Skibbity. Yeah. What does that mean?
He has a connection. They'll see him at the sorority parties. They'll see him around. And they'll know he's one of us. Like he's gonna bang their girlfriends, and guys are like, dude, like he's a dude. Like,
yeah, he's the guy. He's basically turning into Gronk.
$50 million over 5 years. That's why he went. I mean, that's at the end of the day. That's just so much money. It's ridiculous. It's a massive NFL contract, Yeah. And so that's the money in college. What people never realize, the money in college is so much more than what it was. Because they never had to pay him. Now they have to pay him. And now people are seeing the money because the money's coming out. And I think it is a great deal for UNC. I don't think this is going to last. I don't think it's going to last long. Because the problem is you have to pay an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator so much to take over, like, for him from the college game, that I don't know. I don't see this working now. I don't see good NFL coaches becoming great college coaches.
And great college coaches rarely become great NFL coaches. I mean,
very rarely.
Urban Meyer, these guys all crap the bed.
Yes, I mean that you go down the line. It's Saban. I mean, you go down the line to some of these great college coaches and say it just doesn't work out, because it's just they're different games, different recruiting style, different action, different speed. I mean, and leadership styles have to be completely different. I don't know. I don't see this working out well, but it's going to be fun to watch. And I'll say this: people are going to be that first UNC game. I hope it's against Colorado. And you say it's Prime and Belichick on the sidelines against each other. I will be glued to that TV to watch how grumpy he is.
Even I would watch that game.
Yes, and you absolutely hate or just don't like college football. I still don't get it.
It's not a hatred. I just don't care about it at all.
I want to make sure next week or in the following week we talk about the playoffs. We got to make sure we get that and talk about my Penn State and Nittany Lions hosting a game, but talk about the playoffs. It's going to be fun. But before we get,
this is your show too, bro.
We'll get there next week. We don't need to do it now because we got time before the playoff games even start. We'll get some of the bowl games going, but they've got playoff games starting in a couple weeks. So we got time for our fans out there, but we'll definitely hit it. But before we get to the WTF moments of the week, I want to make sure we talk about the last little bit about Major League Baseball. Talk a little bit about those mid-market teams. Do you think they're doing enough out on the free agent market?
No, not at all. I'm looking directly at the Pittsburgh Pirates. You have an amazing young staff, and there is a player out there. You need offense. There is a player out there that you can get on a 2 or 3 year deal that I don't like for another team, but I love him for your team because he's a Pennsylvania guy. Why aren't they already signing Christian Walker? That makes all the sense in the world.
Their first baseman right now is listed as Spencer Horwitz, who they just traded for, James. Just made a trade for your first baseman.
No, okay.
That's why they're not going after Christian Walker. And people love him. People are big fans of him. Coming in from Cleveland, that was a huge deal with Cleveland. I like Spencer. I like who he is. I like what he brings to the table.
Walker.
What?
He's not Christian Walker, though.
He is not.
You need to bring in somebody with pop. You need to bring in a big hitter so that Skeens doesn't have to go out and throw a no-hitter every time he's on the mound. You want to make it easier for these young pitchers who are going to have growing pains, but you have seen it before. When you have these young pitchers and you're not going to have them for very long, go out, get yourself some hitting. First of all, they're building this team backwards. As far as I'm concerned, start with the hitting, get the pitching later. However, go out right now. They should have been in on Willy Adames. They should be in on every player that you can get for a 6-year deal for under $30 million per year.
Adames would have been perfect. Adames would have been absolutely gold on this team. Just find a place for him, get him in there. They have a massive first base problem. They had it last year. They've got a lot of problem. Brian Reynolds is great. IKF had a solid year. You're looking at O'Neal Cruz, which could become an absolute superstar.
He's got all the tools.
Once he's got all the tools, it's incredible what he brings to the table. But you need a couple veteran guys in this lineup that can bring in runs, get guys on base, drive them in. You have the starting pitching of the next generation.
Yeah,
God, you have
the Yankees. Don't go out there and pick up Cody Bellinger. That's the big rumor that the Yankees are going to get Bellinger. Don't go out there and get that guy. Get yourself a stud. Yes. Overpay for it. Mortgage the future a little bit if you have to, because you're not going to have that possibility for very long. Eventually something's going to happen to one or two of those starting pitchers. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want Skeens to have any shoulder problems or elbow problems. But 9 times out of 10, it happens with these young pitchers. So hit it hard right now.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for Cincinnati. You have a good young core. You need hitting. The team that really bothers me is Seattle.
Oh God! Don't even get me started with Seattle.
I want you to get started with Seattle.
They're trying to cut payroll. Like, they were all excited that they got $5 million in their, added to their, basically their budget. Some international something, whatever it was. They were all excited. They added $5 million, and that it doubled the amount of money they can spend this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about trading Luis Castillo.
Just give it up then. Just stop, because you were so close to building a great team. Again, and Adames would have been great there too. There's so many issues here with this team that you're like, this lineup, I love the trades they made. I still love the trades they made. But guys, we're getting a 202 hitter out of your shortstop. Your second base is 220. I mean, DJ Moore, I get a Ryan Bliss is a young kid, but Dylan Moore is batting 201. These are your everyday guys.
Yeah.
Luke Raley, wonderful. Okay. He's a young player, he's got talent, but at the same time, he's not providing a whole lot right now. Good 22 home runs. Awesome. But Randy Rosarena, I love that deal. Love in the middle lineup. Cal Raleigh, awesome. Julio Rodriguez, great. Robles, wonderful. But I need 2 more guys, and I need some bop, and I need something in this lineup that I'm truly scared of outside of Julio and Randy 2 years ago.
We have said it 100 times. There is one guy who's so perfect for this Seattle Mariners team, and I don't know why the hell they haven't signed him, is Pete Alonso. He is perfect for that team. That's exactly what they need. He can bring them to another level. They would have been a playoff team if they traded for him.
Without a doubt. I completely agree with you. I think it'd be perfect. I get it. That's where Luke Raley plays currently, and he's a young guy. And again, you see progress with the guys like that, like 22 home runs, 243 average. He's there. But again, there's a big difference between 22 and 243 and a guy like Alonso who can hit 45.
Look, you know people in Seattle. Can you tell them, listen, I have a partner. He knows contracts. He knows baseball. Dipoto hasn't been able to do it. Bring in James the Greek. He will bring you to the promised land. If
Yes.
only somebody in ownership.
I'm sure they have nobody that predicted any of these contracts either.
Nobody.
It's just amazing how you're the only one.
Hey, come on. How many people actually said that they were going to front load a contract for Soto? How many people do you know?
I didn't understand that. Like, front load. The hell are you talking about? Do you know how money works these days? Backload the hell out of this thing.
Nope. James was the one who said front load it. And did it work? Yes, it did.
I don't agree with the front loading. I get why. I still don't agree with it. Money's more valuable in the back end. But from a player, I understand why you want to front load it.
It got it done.
That's what they got.
But regardless, we need those teams: Cincinnati, Pittsburgh,
Detroit,
Seattle,
Kansas City.
Detroit, what are you doing?
Baltimore. To me, Baltimore. Just shake the tree, guys. You got new ownership coming in. You got new money coming in. You're losing what was he, number 3 in Cy Young or whatever it was, 4 in Cy Young.
And you're losing Santander.
Santander, you got 40 home runs.
Yeah.
You're losing 40 home runs. You're losing the truly one of the few guys in your lineup that produced all year long and all year last year and the year before. Like, you're losing the true production of your lineup.
And the thing that bothers me the most, the thing that bothers me the most is they have so many prospects, so many good young players. Right now, do they really need Jackson Holliday? Whether you believe in him or not, No. He is still highly sought after by some people in baseball. You could get a buttload for Jackson Holliday right now. Trade him. Exactly.
Any one of these guys, Kobe Mayo, Basallo, Holiday. I mean, like Cowser. Like, if you want to sell high on somebody,
Kerstad,
Cowser, right? Like there's so many guys they can sell so high on, and then just like you look at that and you just rebuild. Like,
I crazy idea.
And I don't even mean rebuild. I mean, you can get rid of any one of these guys and just have so many prospects again. Then you turn all those guys into the massive players. Like you're talking about, like, you can't use a Tatis. You could have Tatis for the rest of his career,
right?
And and it's guaranteed good player. You can go out there, like, I get it if you don't want to spend the money for a Soto type of player, but you could have had a Soto type. You can get Soto type players that are guaranteed major league players by adding 2 of these prospects and giving them. It's just, to me, that's the frustrating part. Like, now we're getting to a point of, like, at some point you're just going to let these guys die and their value is going to be nothing.
Yeah. All right. I have a highly theoretical, never going to happen. Okay. Yep. Jackson Holliday plays what positions?
What is it? He's a shortstop, second base.
Yeah. Okay. What about this? You trade Gunnar Henderson, your starting shortstop, and you put Jackson Holliday there if you really believe in him, if you're the Orioles, and you call Pittsburgh and you say, I'm going to give you Gunnar. I want Skeens.
If I'm Pittsburgh, I'd do it.
You'd have to.
Yeah, I do it. The guarantee. Skeens is a phenom.
Yeah.
Gunner's a phenom, but Skeens is like a generational type of pitcher.
Yeah.
But we've seen those before. Like,
yes, we have.
Boom, boom, boom. This dude right here, the Dark Knight. Like, Matt Harvey was a generation. I had never seen somebody like that in person. The command, the speed, the mindset, everything in one player so young. And now I'm seeing it in Skeens. I'm not seeing it in person, but I'm seeing it in Skeens. To me, I take Gunnar.
Yeah, I would take Gunnar too, because he can be in your lineup for the next 10 years. I mean, you know who the smartest team in all of baseball is right now? Kansas City, who needs to make a deal desperately. But they were the ones who were smart enough to pick up Bobby Witt and buy him out really early. And I think they got him for what, $280 million?
Now it looks like a goddamn deal.
A deal. That looks like pennies compared to Soto.
Absolutely.
And right now,
absolute pennies.
And right now,
their
if I had
team
the option,
needs to go out there. They need to add another bat. rotation, obviously, it pitched amazing last year. I don't know if I'd ever touch it. I think I might, maybe. Like there might be a Burnsy type of situation there, right? Like a guy, like you bring him in. I know it's a lot, but like guarantee veteran guy goes right in that lineup, that rotation, and like lead you even more with Lugo, Waka, Reagans.
They need another hitter though.
But they need another hitter, and they need some lockdown bullpen guys. They got bullpen guys. They need lock down bullpen guys. Some guys like that go out there and just throwing up ones type of thing.
I mean, I would take Bobby Witt Jr. over any player in baseball right now, almost, if I could start. Forget about Ohtani because he's a unicorn. We've never seen anything like that. But other than Ohtani, can you name another player right now? If all the players were free agents in baseball, who'd be the first guy you go after?
I think the first guy everybody goes after is Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
I think he's a number one shortstop, defense, arm. I mean,
it's
the bat, power,
speed,
everything. He is the true five tool athlete outside of Ohtani, who's a 10-tool athlete.
Yeah.
Right? Like
5 tool
crazy. We never talk about it. He's a 10-tool athlete.
Yeah. But think about it. And you have the cheaper version. You have, Bobby Witt Light in Baltimore, in Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Light. I mean, Bobby Witt. That's scary to think about. Like Gunnar's there. But yeah, all those teams need to make moves. And that's the thing I hate about the offseason. These players are just sitting here. They're waiting to sign. And guys wait. I never understand that when you're a team that is not in the driver's seat, waiting. Like I get some teams, like you're in the driver's seat, you can wait and see the market play out and then kind of swoop in at the last second and get a couple guys. Baltimore's not. Like right now, like their window, I hate to say it, but it's not getting wider. It's not closing, but it's not getting wider. You add a couple guys, and now you're opening that window up. Yeah. And they can do it. They have the money, and they can dump stupid money into some 2-year contracts. They could have brought in a Snell on a 2-year deal for just ridiculous money and not even thought twice about it because they can do that. They need bullpen help. They need another bat. They definitely need – I think they need 2 bats because you're losing Santander. So you need 2 bats, and they need another guy in that rotation that you can just guarantee every day, taking it. Like they lost the only guy that they could guarantee is going to take that mound.
Come to think of it, Santander would be awesome in Kansas City.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of teams that can use him. He's so underrated.
Agreed.
All right, James, WTF, moments of the week. Take it, my man.
Well, I don't really have to do anything. Let's just watch the first video. Alex, load it up.
We met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
So everybody that's listening on the podcast, that was a video of former New York Jet Mark Gastineau giving the business to Brett Favre for basically falling down and letting Michael Strahan take the single season record for sacks away from Gastineau. The fact that Gastineau is still getting so upset at Brett Favre is hilarious to me. I'm not really sure why he's so upset. Is it because of his legacy? And that is a legacy, by the way. When you hold a record, a single season record, and it's taken away, your legacy is now tarnished, LeBron, just so you know. Or is he upset because he lost a whole bunch of money no longer being the single season sack leader? Either way, the fact that Gastineau got in Favre's face and basically was threatening him, if you watch the video, the look in his eye was hilarious. Like, I'm going to kick the crap out of you.
Yeah. There is a couple of problems I have with this. Like I've seen that video a lot of Favre. Favre was it's a fake handoff. Favre is rolling out to he had his back turned by his left, but really to the right side of the field. And Strahan has him one-on-one. And Favre is rolling out right into his face. It might have been a setup play to give him the sack. It might have been whatever, out of respect for Strahan and what Strahan was doing. But Strahan came off and got right by his blocker and had Favre one-on-one and was about to blow his doors open. It might have been all set up for whatever it was. But Gastineau was going to lose that record regardless.
Yes.
Strahan had 3 sacks the day before. They were tied at 22. He needed half a sack to get it. And Strahan was going to get that record. And that to me is the problem. Is it's not Brett Favre's fault. Strahan had an incredible career year and then turn that into an entire career on TV and everything and everyone. I mean, but he had an incredible year. Gastineau was hurt because of the result of somebody else's success. And that's a problem for me. He's taking it out on Brett Favre. That's the laces out Dan argument. Like,
yeah,
stop this. Like, get over it. You should be the first one to congratulate him. Your record's going to go down at some point. If your entire life is based upon that, that's a problem in the first place. And you're going to be heartbroken. That's like Hank Aaron telling Barry Bonds and all these guys, like, no, it's like, give me my home runs back. Like, stop. Like, you congratulate the man. And yeah, Brett Favre fell down, but Brett Favre was about to have a freaking helmet through his chest at the, and I'm sorry, like Strahan was about to lay him out and he laid down and like, yeah, that's what the play is. A boot. He's supposed to run and be able to run and go out and throw the ball. And the play got broken up because of Strahan. Get over it.
Does Gastineau, the way he speaks, his whole temperament, does he remind you of another athlete?
I met a long time ago. At least
I was worried about his mental capacity.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him.
Like
I'm going to get my sack back.
We don't need to watch this again, Alex.
I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
He reminds me of Pete Rose. I don't know why. He just reminds me of Pete. Just that anger and that bitterness in his voice.
So this is in a 30 for 30 documentary on ESPN.
Exchange.
I think it's going to be on Netflix or whenever it is. I just I don't feel bad for him at all.
No,
I feel it sucks. That's sports. That's what happens when you play the game and somebody's going to beat the record. And Strahan, stop blaming the guy for laying down when he was about to get his clock lit. Plus, Strahan was going to get it regardless. Strahan was going to get it.
I just feel bad for Gastineau's hair. I mean, that mullet. Come on, dude. Fix that.
Horrible.
All
Next
WTF moment. Now, here we have Jason Kelce in the Eagles helmet golf cart, and he just flipped it over. I mean, Kelce, why are you turning into Gronk? I'm starting to really hate the whole Kelce family. I really am.
Jason is always the one I liked. Like Travis, you get it. Travis is like all about Travis. Jason to me is always all about the fun. I get it. Like he's kind of like the fun guy, takes his shirt off and drunk and kind of like, but kind of get reeled in too by his wife, and that's a great combination, great stuff. But yeah, he's starting to turn into a little Gronkish, where it's just starting to be stupid. And that's the only thing about it that I don't like about it. Just kind of be stupid. But again, it's kind of like that fun guy. He's living his best life. He's living the dream for what he is. And I just don't want him to be the Gronk stupid. That's my only problem with it.
It's funny. We have one brother who's sitting there wearing Gucci and hanging out with Taylor Swift. And then we have the other one who's shirtless, drinking beers, and basically turns into Frank the Tank on the weekends. I don't know which one of them I hate more.
Definitely Jason.
Definitely Jason. Okay, cool. All right, let's go to our last WTF moment.
So I lost concentration. Oh, hey.
Oh, no. Is that why you lost concentration? Did your wife do that off camera?
I got flashed right off of camera as we're talking about a girl that flashed on camera.
Well, that's pretty damn funny.
Who is this beautiful young lady?
Hold on a second. If you're going to get so distracted, at least Andrea has to say hello to our viewers. Andrea, get on the camera with your shirt on.
Unfortunately, walked away.
Oh, all right.
I'll text her.
All right. So anyway, this WTF moment is one of these Instagram models who wants to make it famous. So what does she do? She decides that she's going to flash people at the football game from the front row. And oh, wow, look, I'm a girl and I have boobies and I'm going to show them off and I'm going to be famous. Well, you know what? Guess what? Every girl has boobies. Stop selling yourself. Stop being a little whatever. And you don't have to be that person that goes in front of that camera. She's the same person who went in front of it. What?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go. You interrupted me.
What
I
were
was
you
on my
about to say? I
rant.
want to hear exactly what you're about to say.
And you have to be that girl who goes in front of the camera so that the people in England can see your boobies too. Great. Go on OnlyFans, do what you got to do, but stop bothering sports.
But she's,
I'm a little bitter with women lately, so leave me alone.
She's been doing this not just only on that camera, but she's been doing this at other events too.
Yeah.
So this has become a thing for her. This has kind of become her niche. I'm totally okay with it. I'm a big fan of it, first of all. But two, unless there's kids and stuff, okay, you got to be respectful of the game and all that, and families and kids.
There's a kid right there. You can look at the second picture. There's a kid right behind her.
And that's one of my bigger problem with it. But she has become famous for these actions. She went to the Trump rally and did it. She went to the camera, she did it at another camera. She's done it at other sporting events. So this has become her thing. And I'm game for that. That's totally fine with me because it's kind of become her thing. I don't agree with the idea of doing it in front of kids and all that, but that's at least finding a niche. Not just the random and trying to be famous for doing one. It's like, hey, that's become her famous niche thing. Like that's her thing. It's like people running on the field, like when back in the day used to run on the field and become famous. Like this is not like her first rodeo. She's become a salty vet at this. And one of the players, by the way, let's not forget this. One of the players is the one texting her, telling her to do it.
Okay, fantastic. So if one of the players texts me and says, "Hey, I want you to drop your pants and show your balls off to everybody," that's okay then? And why can she expose herself? And if I expose myself, I go to jail. Why?
Yeah, that's a good point, but I'm okay with it. So if for some reason
with me exposing myself,
up her OnlyFans and check it out because it's horrible. Whatever you do not look at her Instagram. Do not go to her OnlyFans page. It's just horrible. It's just Ava Louise. Do not look that up.
Focus.
Do not look that up at all because it's just I just feel really bad for her.
Yeah, she's living a terrible life. It's okay. Guess what? She's going to get fat. She's going to get old. She's going to get ugly eventually. And then she's going to see her worth is 0.0.
And she'll be rich and she'll be just fine. And so with that, speaking of selling out, make sure you come and watch more of our episodes and finding our niche. Let us know what you think of the episode. Let us know what you think of closers of Man Cave Sports. Keep tuning into Man Cave Sports. Also, Clippy Jones on there, killing it with some of his NBA takes. That is absolutely hilarious. I love him. But
if you're the owner of a professional baseball team and you need a GM, I'm available.
And available to tell you about contracts and predict everywhere everyone's going to go for the exact amount of money they're going to go. That is James, and he is absolutely amazing at it. But leave a comment, hit a like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell all of your friends who were wrong about where Soto was going, that James was right and almost exactly perfect about the money. But for James, I'm the DA, and thank you for paying attention.